All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. We're going to dive into all the devices that was released from Google on the 20th. We got 7 devices to kind of go through, and so I am going to go through each one, the tech specs, kind of give you guys my thoughts about it. And we're starting from the smallest to the biggest, so we're starting off with something that I've been waiting for a long time. I still have my Pixel Buds A. They still work pretty good. And it's really awesome to see that there's a follow-up to it in the form of the Pixel Buds 2A. So these will release at $129, or you can finance them from the Google Store and make $32.25 payments. There's 4 payments you would have to pay to completely own it. Up to you, your choice. However, we got 2 color options. We got Hazel and Iris. So Hazel for a more darker color, kind of looks like obsidian, but like a lighter shade of gray. And then you got Iris, which is the same color as my Pixel 9a. So I am definitely wanting to upgrade to these headphones, as when you kind of look at the tech specs when it comes to these earbuds, basically. So yeah, we'll go over it. Compatibility requirements: Bluetooth 4.0 and higher. It works with Android, iOS, Windows, whatever, right? As long as it's got Bluetooth 4.0 and higher, it can connect, right? It's also compatible with Android devices running Android 6.0. So I mean, it goes far back for support. That's pretty awesome. Internet connection for it. For minimum OS and hardware requirements, you can read more on the link that they have here. Website is store.google.com if you want to find the Pixel Buds 2A and read that. But, it is IP54 water and dust resistant, and the case is IPX4. Right? So it's dust resistant, it's not water resistant, but the buds are they're sweat proof, right? You're not going to be able to go swimming in a pool with them in your ear. The earbuds is using Bluetooth 5.4 connectivity, super wideband, to basically pair with your device. And it has the Google Tensor A1. And I'm curious to know if the Tensor A1 is built by TSMC or Samsung Foundry. I'll look more into that in a future update video. But anyways, it's custom design, 11mm dynamic speaker driver, active noise cancellation with silent seal, transparency mode, active in-ear pressure relief. That's nice. You don't want to feel like your head's going to explode. And then, of course, ringtone speaker for Find Hub. So the case has a speaker built into it. And if you misplaced your Pixel Buds 2A, you go into the Find Hub app and you make it ring, and it will make sound for you to find it. That is awesome. That is helpful. Will it take phone calls through the case? No. Just have to put that out there. So you got Bluetooth super wideband, clear calling, and wind blocking mesh covers to protect from those the windy sounds. It's got 2 microphones in it, capacitive touch on the actual bud itself to, you tap it for music, calls, voice, and assistant controls. It's got an IR proximity sensor for in-ear detection to play and pause automatically when you insert and remove the buds. And the case has, Hall effect sensor for case open and close detection, so it's able to know when you open or close it. And so right here for charging, it looks like USB-C charging port in the case. It doesn't look like wireless charging for it. So that's probably a sacrifice you get for getting the Pixel Buds 2A. With the battery with active noise cancellation, up to 10 hours of listening time, and up to 27 hours total listening time with the charging case. With active noise that's off. Active noise cancellation on is 7 hours of listening time and 20 hours including charging it back up in the case. 5-minute charge for earbuds in the charging case delivers up to 1 hour of listening time with active noise cancellation on. And it's got, some info on the sustainability, the dimensions of it. It weighs about 4.7 grams. With the case is 47.6 grams. And this is what you get in the box. You get the buds, you get the case, you get 3 different adjustable ear cushions. And yeah, that's pretty much the Pixel Buds 2A. Now going in next, we are going in on the Pixel Buds Pro 2. Now these are the Pro earbuds for you guys, and it comes in a multitude of colors. We got Moonstone, we got Porcelain, and let me get this ad out the way. We got Peony, so kind of strange. They maintained the pink color with out there being one this year, but that's fine, because if you have the Pixel 9 and you chose not to upgrade and you have the peony color, then the Buds Pro 2 you got a color for it. And then we have hazel. So those are the four colorways that you can get any of these in. And so same thing here as far as compatibility requirements, same as the Buds 2A. Same water resistance, same Bluetooth technology, super wideband. Using the Google Tensor A1 processor chip for it. So it's got its own design, its own unique sensor, right? Looks like the same speaker drivers, active noise cancellation. So it's got pretty much the same thing as the 2A. Of course, it's got a speaker in it for, finding it if you misplaced it with the Find Hub app. Yeah, it's got all the same things, except that the only difference is that it's got 3 microphones. So you got 3 microphones instead of 2. And I'm going to go on a whim. Yep, USB charging and Qi certified wireless charging. So you can wirelessly charge the Buds Pro 2A. Of course, the battery, not Buds Pro 2A, the Buds Pro 2. Oh, I'm getting these confused. With active noise cancellation up to 12 hours of listening time and 48 hours total listening with the charging case. So that's a lot longer battery life. With active noise cancellation on is 8 hours of listening time with 30 hours, including the case charging them back up. 5-minute charging in the case gives you 1.5 hours of listening time with active noise cancellation off. Let's see, it weighs about 4.7 grams. So the earbuds, and then with the earbuds and case, it is 65 grams is how much it weighs, and that's what comes in the box. Pretty much the same thing. So yeah, that's the Pixel Buds Pro 2 in a nutshell. Had to make sure I didn't say the A at the end of that. That would have confused so many of y'all. All right, up next, we got the Pixel Watch 4. So the 4th generation of smartwatch from Google Pixel. And yes, there's 2 different sizes. Again, we got a 41 millimeter and a 45 millimeter. And we have 5 different color options, beginning with, you have iris. That's a nice color. You have lemongrass, and you have porcelain and obsidian. So if I was to get anything, it could be any one of these. I'll probably get obsidian and just get the watch bands for lemongrass and iris, so it kind of matches up with my Pixel 9a or my upcoming Pixel 10. But you get $350 back with eligible trade-in when you buy the Pixel Watch 4. That's pretty cool. Anyways, you get all those cool things with it. And so for the tech specs for you guys, so like I said, there's 2 different sizes, obviously, 41 millimeter, 45 millimeter. And let's see, the height of them, 12.3 millimeters. The weight for the 41 millimeter is 31 grams without the band, and 36.7 grams without the band for the 45 millimeter. You got an actual 360 display on both of them. Custom 3D Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for both of them. 320 pixels per inch AMOLED LTPO display with DCI-P3 coloring on both. Up to 3000 nits peak brightness on both of them. So they pretty much have just the same specs. One is obviously bigger than the other. That's probably the only really big difference there. And of course, battery size. You have to factor that in. Bluetooth 6.0 for both. Ultra wideband connection, satellite SOS communication on both of them. GPS, dual frequency GPS, is GPS, Galileo, and GLONASS. And let's see, they got the band sizes. Here we go. Power. 325 milliamp hour battery on the 41 millimeter and 455 on the 45 millimeter. So yes, bigger battery. 30 hours with always on display with the smaller, 40 hours always on display with the larger. They got quick charge dock, so charging speed, about 15 minutes gets you 50% of battery on both. 25 minutes gets you 80%. 45 minutes gets you 100% with the smaller one, and then 1 hour gets you 100% on the larger one. So they're using the Qualcomm Snapdragon W5 Gen 2. That's a Cortex M55 coprocessor along with it. Wear OS 6.0. And so yeah, you got 2 gigabytes of SD RAM on both. And you have all these different sensors, ambient light, gyroscope, 3-axis accelerometer, barometer, all these things. Pretty cool. Got a side button, built-in microphone and speakers. There it goes. IP68 water and dust resistant, so that's nice. And what comes in the box is the watches, the active bands. There's a small and large. Of course, the quick charge dock, and then the quick start guides. So not bad at all whatsoever. I'm going to give you a little bit more information on what they're built on. Now, I do know that they show that it is technically different, I guess, with the charging dock, as it's said to be not a puck. It's said to be not a puck anymore. So that's just, you know, it's pretty interesting. I want to see the side. That's what I want to confirm. Oh, they should just have it where you can spin it around. Anyways, that is the Pixel Watch 4. All right, and so we got different colorways with the Google Pixel 10. As you guys can see, there's indigo, there's frost, there's lemongrass, and there's obsidian. Now, it's funny because the frost kind of reminds me of iris, and I don't know. Maybe I should have gotten the frost color instead of lemongrass, and then, yeah, I don't know. It's not like wearing shoes or clothes, so I don't need them to completely match up, so it is what it is. All right, so let's go to tech specs for the Pixel 10. All right, so to start off, we got a 6.3-inch Actua display, 20:9 aspect ratio, 1080 by 2424 pixels. It's an OLED display at 422 pixels per inch. Smooth display from 60 to 120 hertz refresh. Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. 3000 nits peak brightness. Yeah, so it claims 24 plus hours of battery life, so up to 100 hours battery life with extreme battery saver on. The battery size is a 4970 milliamp. Don't know why they didn't do just 5,000 milliamps. I mean, that's only 30 milliamps away from it. Fast charging up to 55% in about 30 minutes using 30-watt USB charging. And then it is Qi 2 certified, so with the whole new Pixel Snap, which is, you know, the competitor to MagSafe. You get 15 watts wireless charging. And so there is two storage variations for it, but both have 12 gigs of RAM. There's a 128 and 256. We get the Tensor G5, which is, I'm very interested in that, along with the Titan M2 security processor. For the cameras, it's a 48 megapixel quad wide camera with a f1.7 aperture rating, 82 degree field of view, and a 1/2-inch image sensor size. The ultra wide is 13 megapixels. I had to correct myself from the previous video. It's not 16, it's 13 megapixel. And f2.2 aperture with 120 degree field of view. And then we got the telephoto at 10.8 megapixels. So the cool thing about the base model Pixel 10 is that it gets a telephoto lens. So you have 3 cameras to work with. Now, of course, the Pro models are going to have the better sensors, and it better have it since it's being called Pro. But anyways, selfie cam is a 10.5 megapixel. With a f2.2 aperture and 90 degree field of view. So you should get some pretty wide shots selfie-wise. And then you have all these camera features. Super red zoom up to 20 times in zoom. You got camera coach, add me, macro focus, night sight, astrophotography, portrait mode, face unblur, auto unblur, long exposure, action pan, real tone, panorama, auto best take, frequent faces, and top shot. And with editing features, you got edit with Ask Photos, Pixel Studio, Auto Frame, Reimagine, Sky Styles, Resize and Move Subjects, Portrait Blur, Magic Eraser, Best Take, Photo Unblur, Zoom Enhance, and Portrait Light. So that's pretty nice. When it comes to recording video, 4K recording at 2430 and 60 frames per second, 1080p at the same frame rates, dual exposure on wide camera, digital video zoom up to 20 times. For the front camera, it's 4K at 30 and 60 frames per second. And you get all these cool things: audio magic eraser, macro focus video, 10-bit HDR video, cinematic blur, cinematic pan, slow-mo video support up to 240 frames per second, 4K time-lapse and with stabilization, astrophotography time-lapse, night sight time-lapse, optical image stabilization for videos, fused video stabilization, cinematic pan video stabilization in 4K and 1080p, locked video stabilization in 4K and 1080p, active video stabilization in 1080p, video formats in HEVC, that's H.265, and AVC at H.264, AV1 and VP9. All right, stereo. For audio, we got stereo recording, we got speech enhancement, we got wind noise reduction, we got audio zoom. Nice. For AI, you get Gemini Nano, Gemini Built-in, AI Assistant, Gemini Live, Gemini Apps, Pixel Screenshots, Magic Queue, Circle to Search, Live Translate, and Call Assist. And of course, this is just a material that it's built out of, so that's nice. 7 years of software support and Pixel Drop updates. It launches with Android 16, so that means that basically Android 23 is where it will get its final support. Fingerprint, biometric unlock, and face unlock, along with pattern, PIN, and password. Nothing that says if it's ultrasonic or if it's still optical for the biometric. And then you got satellite SOS, emergency SOS, crisis alert, crash detection, safety check, emergency location services, emergency contacts, and medical info, Android earthquake alert system, and theft protection. These are all the sensors that the device has. USB Type-C 3.2, power button, volume controls. It is dual eSIM, so there is no physical SIM with the US model. Go figure. You got stereo speakers, 3 microphones, noise suppression, spatial audio. These are the connectivity, so Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 6, NFC, Google Cast, dual band GNSS, GPS, GLONASS, and Galileo. For networking, you got 5G millimeter wave plus sub-6 with the model that is GLBWO. And then these are the bands that it supports, which, one important one for Boost Mobile customers would need is N70, and it does support that with the, that's the sub-6 bands that it supports. So yeah, that's basically the Pixel 10 in a nutshell. And for the Pixel 10 Pro XL, I'm going with the XL model, but the specifications are pretty much the same except the size of the phone, right? So the Pixel 10 Pro being the same size as the Pixel 10. So I just figured I would go with the larger of the two. And you got these 4 options right here. You got, Moonstone. You have Jade, which the Jade kind of looks like lemongrass also. So I don't know. You got Porcelain and you got Obsidian. So 4 colorways here. And for the tech specs on this, so I like how they just kind of throw it up here. So you have it side by side. But anyways, 6.8-inch display. 20 by 9 aspect ratio, 1344 by 2992 LTPO OLED display with 486 pixels per inch. The base Pro model is 1280 by 2856 and 495 pixels per inch, right? That's the difference right there is the display size. Smooth display, 1 hertz to 120 hertz. And everything else is pretty much the same as the Pixel 10 as far as Corning Gorilla Glass Victus and all that stuff. The size of the phone is obviously different. And the battery size is different. And this is something that I still find weird. 4870 milliamp hour battery on the Pixel 10 Pro. I don't understand why it's 100 milliamps smaller than the base 10. I think it should have been the same size. I don't know. Anyways, 5200 milliamps on the Pixel 10 Pro XL. So the battery size has defeated the Pixel 9a at the 9a being 5100 milliamps. So is what it is. 16 gigs of RAM on both of them, where the 10 Pro has a 128 gig model, but the Pro XL does not. It starts off at 256. You get 512 on both of them, and you get a terabyte on both of them as well. So those are the storage options. Tensor G5, Titan M2. You get all that cool stuff. You get, the security from the Titan M2. Cameras, 50 megapixel wide camera, f1.68 aperture and an 82-degree field of view. 48 megapixel ultra wide at f1.7 aperture, 123-degree field of view. And then you got the 48 megapixel telephoto with optical image stabilization, f2.8 aperture, 22-degree field of view, 5 times optical zoom. And then you got the ProRes up to 100 times zoom with the Pro models. So the selfie cam is a 42 megapixel on them, and that has a 103-degree field of view. So it is an ultra wide selfie cam. That's actually pretty nice. They have the same features here. So Pro controls, high res up to 50 megapixels, ProRes zoom up to 100 times zoom, and then the same features that the Pixel 10 has. So I'm not going to relist all of those. For video recording, it's got 8K video recording at 24 and 30 frames per second, powered by Video Boost. Then you got 4K recording at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. Same with 1080p. You got dual exposure on wide camera, super res zoom video up to 20 times zoom in. Selfie cam records in 4K at 30 and 60 frames per second. And you got all the video features, video boost, night sight video, all that stuff that I mentioned with the Pixel 10. I don't see anything pretty much off key when it comes to this, but it is what it is. And then you got, stereo recording, Gemini Nano, and all that, Magic Q, pixel screenshots. You got pretty much everything the Pixel 10 has, right? Just, the camera, the size is where they kind of beefed up for the Pro. But everything else is pretty much the same from the Pixel 10 to the Pixel 10 Pro XL as far as features. Launches with Android 16, 7 years of OS support. Fingerprint unlock, face unlock, pattern pin password, satellite connectivity, and all that good stuff. Proximity sensors, ambient light sensors. So it has all that. USB Type-C 3.2, power button and volume controls. You got that. Dual eSIM, so no physical SIM on these models either. And they have 3 microphones, noise suppression, spatial audio, and stereo speakers. Wi-Fi 7 rather than 6E on the Pro models for Wi-Fi connectivity. And yeah, so you get, a millimeter wave and sub-6. That's the GUL82 model for the Pro XL. And for the Pro, it's G4QUR. Those are the 5G sub-6 models. They do support Boost Mobile's native 5G, which is N70. So you have that. And then, yeah, all the, accessible stuff, live caption, live transcribe, and all that stuff. So, yeah, you're pretty much taken care of with it, right? Subtle differences between the base and Pro model, but there is a reason if you want Pro features to go with the Pro models. So at the end of the day, these are the devices that's released by Google this year, 2025. The only one we didn't touch base with is the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, because that is releasing, I guess you would say around October is what it looks like. But nonetheless, yeah, super excited. Can't wait to get mine in hand. I am still waiting. Mine should be arriving sometime next week, probably Thursday, between Thursday and Friday next week. So, it is what it is. This is like anxiety is just getting to me at this point. But if you guys appreciate me going through all the specs for all these devices, smash the like button. I would truly appreciate that. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you pre-ordered any of these, or if you're going to, or if you're going to go to any of the other carriers that's going to have deals. I did drop a video talking about some deals that's available currently right now. I will update that video next week when the phones are fully released, so I can tell you guys what carrier deals that are out there. But yeah, be on the lookout for that video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. We truly appreciate it. And I'll talk to you on the next one.